of Lake Michigan, with officials warning the highly contagious bird flu could be to blame here. Let's get right to Mills Hayes with the very latest. Mills, this is disturbing. What are health officials most concerned about in this case?
Hey, good morning, Marky, and really good to see you this morning. But it's definitely a bad situation on the shores of Lake Michigan. Hundreds of birds believed to be infected with bird flu have washed up on the shores of Lake Michigan in the suburbs of Chicago, as well as in downtown Chicago. And the concern here is that the bird flu could then pass on to humans and also pets. Now, that's actually why I'm not at Lake Michigan in front of one of the beaches showing you what it actually looks like, because I spoke with a virologist and they told me that unless I had the proper PPE, then I could potentially pass that on to my house cat. And we don't want that, right? So this video and the images that you're seeing are obviously very devastating to many of the people here, and especially this group that I spoke with. It's a volunteer group, Chicago Bird Collision Monitors. It's a conservation project that protects migratory birds, and they've received hundreds of calls about sick or dead ducks, geese, hawks, and even owls. Now, we have seen other animals like house cats, as I mentioned, cows, big cats in wildlife sanctuaries, seals, and even flamingos get bird flu and die. Transmission to humans is rare, though. It's usually seen in someone who spends a lot of time around potentially infected animals, so think poultry or dairy farmers. And the CDC says that last year that there were 66 cases of the bird flu in humans here in the U.S. Now, one scientist who studies viruses at Emory University tells me that we don't want a novel influenza virus emerging in the human population again.
We can't control migratory birds, but what we can do is control things that are happening on dairy farms, potentially, and things that are happening on poultry farms in our states. And so we really need to, be working with Department of Agriculture and Department of Health to say, like, we need to be testing more.
And it's gotten so bad in the state of California, they've actually declared a state of emergency just last month in December. And then since we have seen bird flu come to the U.S., I remember when it first broke out in 2022, I was covering it. And since then, we have seen millions of birds die, and many of them actually being euthanized by farmers so they don't spread that disease to other animals. Marky?
Oh gosh, it's sad and it's scary, and so many families walk along, the lakeshore here in the Chicago area. Mills Hayes, thank you so much for putting that on our radar this morning. And by the way,